Hello, everyone. Do I have anyone in the chat right now? I don't see people chatting. Might give them a little minute or two to arrive. So tonight we're having a special guest. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait for you to meet her. Just before we start, I asked her, well, she proposed to come, and I was really happy about it. And we were wondering exactly how we were going to do it because she's got a lot of knowledge. She teaches class. I will let her present herself in a minute, but we were trying to figure out something like I wanted her to be here, teach a little bit to show you guys what she can offer, but at the same time not showing too much because she's actually offering classes, and I don't want her to be showing a bunch of stuff that you might be willing to pay to learn. You know what I mean? So no one is here yet. Let me just put that in the group chat. Hopefully some people will join in a minute. Usually they're here. I guess people are not interested in mushrooms. Without further waiting, I will bring her up, and whoever watches this and on a replay, I will be able to learn. So I see Danny Wonders. Hello, Donnie. And here she is. You're on mute.
Hello.
All right. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. So we'll let you present yourself. You can sugarcoat it if you want.
I'm not sure what you mean by sugarcoat. It's very bright. I'm sorry that you guys can't see my face super well. My name is Jessika Gauvin. The slideshow is going to tell you guys a little bit more about my history and my background and stuff, but I'm a mushroom enthusiast, a mushroom ID specialist, and a herbalist. And I'm the president of the New Brunswick Mycological Society, and I'm also somebody who helps poison control with poisonous mushrooms. So my job is to teach people about what's out there that they can eat and how they can use it for food and for nourishing and supporting the health of their bodies. So I'm going to present for you guys today. Feel free to ask questions, Remy, if you want, or anybody else that's here. I really love it when these presentations are really dynamic and have involvement from people who are watching. So feel free to jump in. Can you guys see this good? Is this cool?
Yeah, well, we can see the screen pretty well. Is it better if I do this? Okay, we'll see if once you start.
So my slideshow for you guys today is all about me and all about mushrooms in general, and specifically mushrooms here in New Brunswick. Mushrooms are some of the coolest thing on the planet for so many different reasons that would probably take me more than an hour to explain. But a really long time ago, millions, hundreds of millions, perhaps even a billion years ago, some of the very first organisms to come up and colonize on the land were actually mushrooms. Some sources claim that there were mushrooms that were hundreds of feet tall. There definitely were plants that were hundreds of feet tall. I think that's something that's really cool to think about. Originally, back then, because the land was just starting to form, a lot of it was really dense, really hard rock. Soil was not a thing at this time. Soil did not exist. The only reason that soil became a thing, the only reason that we have rich soil today, is because of mushrooms. So mushrooms evolved the ability to turn solid rock into soil. And without them, we would not have soil. We wouldn't have plants. We wouldn't have trees. We wouldn't have any of it. 90-something% of the plants that exist today rely on mushrooms to survive. So we wouldn't have plants without mushrooms.
That's pretty cool.
What?
That's pretty cool when you think of
Isn't
it.
it? It's so neat when you really like dig into it and look into it really deeply. It's pretty crazy how important mushrooms are to life on this planet. And the mushrooms have super important jobs on this planet. One of the most important jobs that they have is being in relationship with trees and helping the trees to sustain themselves. So mushrooms form relationships with trees and plants and help them to sequester their nutrients, help them to share their nutrients among each other, and help them to communicate with each other their needs and other information about the environment. So mushrooms are super important for living organisms, but also there's another type of mushroom that's really, really important. And this type of mushroom is a decomposer. And so mushrooms decompose decaying matter in the soil and decaying plants, roots, and wood. So even today, let's say there was some sort of freak accident or whatnot, and fungi disappeared from the face of the planet really soon, that's what the whole planet would look like. So, very, very quickly, within a matter of a generation or two, we would become buried under piles and piles and piles of twigs and sticks and logs. Because the only reason that these things break down is because the mushrooms that grow in the wood break it down and turn it back into soil.
Awesome.
Right? So this is me.
I find it so interesting. Like usually when I talk to people and I tell them that I'm taking an online class, they ask like the first thing that they ask me is, "Who's that teacher? Like, what's her degree or what's her background?" And as soon as I say, "Well, she helps people around the world with toxic mushrooms," like, "Oh, okay, she knows her stuff."
It's a really fun part of my job. I really enjoy it. It's really rewarding and it's cool when I get that. I don't get the chance to all the time, but it's really cool when I get the chance to tell somebody like, "Oh, yeah, your kid just ate that mushroom and it's totally fine because that is a harmless mushroom." It's a really beautiful thing. My daughter, my youngest kid, ate a mushroom when she was 3, and I didn't know anything about mushrooms back then. So it was a really terrifying experience for me, and it's really beautiful now that I get to help people in that situation. So my job through my business is to help people learn how to feed themselves with the food that's out there. And it's not just plant or not just mushrooms, but plants as well. But I do specialize in mushrooms because I love them very much. So this is a picture of me. It was taken last year in the spring of 2023, and this was the very first flush of mushrooms that I found in the spring of last year. So it was really exciting for me. These are my kidlets, and this is a very huge mushroom that we found together my very first year of mushroom hunting. And as you can tell,
Time out. Time out. Uh, what is it you're showing? Because I don't see anything right now.
oh no, are you kidding me? You can't see the slide that's here?
No. Is it full
Oh no.
screen?
Yeah, it's full screen. It's screen shared. I can see it on my screen.
What we can do? Um,
How about this? Can you see that?
no, for some reason it's not moving. I
Hmm.
see Canva, but
Okay. Give me a sec. Let's try again, shall we?
if that doesn't work, we're gonna try something else after.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, there's lots of pictures too, or lots of people commenting.
Yeah.
Cool. Are we going to go through the questions at the end?
Well, you can answer them as you see them. It's up to you.
Oh, I couldn't see them when I was presenting, but I can see them
Okay.
now.
Yeah,
How about
I see
we'll
Canva, but
yeah, we'll go through the questions after. So can you see this?
I simply see Canva open. I don't see any slideshows.
Okay. How about now?
I see your. No, that's weird. Let me try something different. So
I think I know what's going on.
you do?
Yeah, just give me a sec.
Uh, while you do this, Dave was asking what would be the best edible kind of mushroom to grow on his tree stumps at home.
On tree stumps, you can't. Unfortunately, it's almost impossible to inoculate a tree stump because once the tree is cut, it's going to be colonized by things immediately. So if you don't get that tree stump inoculated within 4 weeks of felling that healthy tree, um, you're going to be dealing with competing organisms. So the chances of being able to successfully inoculate it are going to be very low. How about this? Does this work?
I see something on the screen. I don't know if it's full screen or not.
I'm going to full screen it now. How is this?
Okay, now we see it.
Now you see
Okay.
it. Okay. So these
Let
are
me,
my kidlets. And this is the biggest mushroom that I have ever found. I found this the first year that I was mushroom hunting. And as you can see, it is almost bigger than my smallest kid was at that time. It was 50 pounds and it took 2 people to pick up and put it in the back of our car. A very, very large mushroom. Edible, delicious mushroom. And this is my mom. And here is a basket of gigantic oyster mushrooms. She found 40 pounds of oyster mushrooms that day. So when I was really young, my mom is rather, but when I was very young, she was reconnecting to her indigenous roots. So she's indigenous, and her father didn't embrace that part of himself, so he didn't pass that to her. So he didn't teach her about that. So when she was growing up, when she was raising me, and she was very young when she had me, she wanted to reclaim that portion of herself. So she wanted to connect with the land and she wanted to learn the plants and the medicines and she wanted to teach her kids this. It was really, really important to her. So she wanted to make sure that we had a connection to the land and that we knew about those aspects of ourselves and that we would be able to take care of ourselves if anything were ever to happen that we would need to take care of ourselves. So mushrooms go back for me when I was really, really young. I didn't have the encyclopedic knowledge of mushrooms until I was 25, 26. What happened was, oh, nope, this one first. So there's actually food all over the place. There is so much food. It is absolutely insane how much food is out there. I love to, when I take groups out to look, I pick a really small area. So maybe a meter or two square that's in the general vicinity that has the highest concentration of multiple things. Generally, I can find a spot that has between 6 and 14 things just in a very small 2 or 3 meters in almost any field, in almost any area of Eastern Canada. It is crazy how much food is out there. I was going to the DMV last year to apply for a driving license, and as I was walking out of the DMV, a couple of blocks away, I stumbled across a black walnut tree. So that's what I'm holding in my hand here. It's 3 beautiful black walnuts. They smell like citrus and vanilla. They're so very beautiful. And just, it's not unusual. There's food, so much food all over the place. Here is a collection of beautiful, delicious, edible things that I picked very early in the spring last year. So it's a giant basket of wine cap mushrooms, a bunch of stinging nettles, some hawthorn flowers. I believe this was mint back here. And this is stuff that I just gathered in a field about 6 blocks from my house. And this is the norm. This is usual, normal, typical, fairly simple to do.
On a day walk.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was 2 hours. That took us 2 hours.
Wow.
So my business is Enchanted Mushroom Forest. So I teach people how to do this. I teach people how to go out in the forest and find food, pick it, bring it home, how to prepare it, how to preserve it, how to use it for different preparations to heal their bodies. And here are some of my students that were in my very first program, and you can see they've got their baskets and they're filling them up. As Remy said, I do also help poison control. So I'm listed on the North American Mycological Society's poison trusted identifiers page. And I also help a team called the Poisons Help Group worldwide with plant and mushroom poisoning cases, both for animals and humans. When I was young, my mom taught me how to do a lot of it. So we didn't learn a lot of things. Definitely not the hundreds of species that I have under my belt now, or thousands. We have like 5 or 6 things that we really, really like to forage. A couple of mushrooms, a few plants, dandelions, plantain, puffball mushrooms, and meadow mushrooms. Like that was almost, and berries. That was like our whole thing. We would go out and we would pick those things. And when I became a teenager, that stuff wasn't cool. I don't want my friends. What are my friends going to think? I'm picking food off the ground. That's weird. You know what I mean? So I stopped. But when I was in my mid 20s, I discovered that I have complex PTSD, and I was self medicating, and it wasn't great for me. I wasn't in a really good place. I still used herbs to help support my body. I never stopped that. So it was pretty natural for me to want to go back to the forest. So I found a mushroom that could help support like stress hormones and trauma in the brain and in the body. And I went off searching for that mushroom and I found it. So I figured out really quickly that there were a lot of people that were feeling the way that I was feeling, and that were feeling really disconnected. We're super disconnected from ourselves in a lot of ways, but also from our environment and from our food. Just a few generations ago, we were so intimately connected with our food because we grew it, and we picked it all ourselves. Right now, our food comes from super far away. A lot of us don't know how it grows, or where it grows, or anything really about it. So I really love bringing people back in connection with their environment, in connection with their food. It's one of my favorite parts of my job.
A quick question in the chat.
Yeah,
Someone's asking, have you heard of mushroom allergies?
they're just like any food. You can definitely have a mushroom allergy. It does happen. I haven't heard of it often, but yeah, it does happen. There's also intolerances to specific types of mushrooms. So there are some people that I know where they can eat almost all the mushrooms, but there's like 1 or 2 species that we pick that they can't eat. And you'll find that's common for almost any mushroom. They say when you're trying a new mushroom that you should only have a couple of bites and wait and see how you feel. Because even really popular mushrooms like chanterelles, there's going to be a handful of people who just can't eat those. You know what I mean? And so just be cautious. There are some mushrooms, for instance, morel mushrooms, chicken of the woods mushrooms. These mushrooms are more likely to upset people's bellies. There's a larger percentage of people who can't eat those ones. But as far as like a lot of people not being able to eat any mushroom whatsoever, that I've never heard of. A lot, not a lot. Once I've heard of it once. So I took a whole buttload of classes with people from around here and with people from other parts of North America. I did a week-long mushroom ID camp, which was super fun. And I also studied under some people from the United States and from Europe as well on specific groups of mushrooms. For a while, I just wanted to take people out into the woods just to share what I found and the beautiful support and mental healing that being in the forest and reconnecting with my food and my medicine in this way, and how much it helped me. I just wanted to share that with people. So I was like, hey, does anybody want to come out into the woods and I'll teach you some things? And after a little while, I kind of got some nudges from people like, hey, this is a really cool business idea. My mom was like, you could turn this into a side hustle. You should really do it. And that's what it was for me for the first few years. It was a side hustle. And it's been about 2 years that I've been able to do this full time. So I'm really fortunate, and it's really, really wonderful that I get to do this.
Cool.
Um, My favorite things about mycology, it's one of the newest sciences on the planet. We're only just really starting to learn deeply about mushrooms. We discover new mushrooms every single day. Every day, people are discovering things about mushrooms. This is a mushroom that I found that had never been recorded in New Brunswick before. So that was really, really cool. Um, it's such it's expanding at such a fast rate. It's such a young science, and anybody can join in. Anybody can join in. So a lot of the contributions to this particular science, a lot of them are being made by everyday people. We call ourselves citizen scientists. So many people are writing papers and contributing and researching and extracting, sending mushrooms away for DNA extraction and learning about them that way. Just people, everyday people. It's not hard, and it's so much fun. So the experts like me, but there's many other experts, and a lot of us are super accessible on mushroom ID groups like this one here, Mushroom Hunting New Brunswick. There's about 25 or 30 worldwide mushroom experts in this group, and local mushroom experts too. I think we have 5 or 6, maybe even 6 or 7 mushroom experts now here in New Brunswick. It's expanding. I love it.
Nice.
So here's a beautiful resource for mushrooms. Whoops. Mushroom identification. So there are also worldwide international mushroom ID groups where you can learn a lot as well. So here's one of them. This is one of the most famous mushroom hunters on the planet, and you can just message him and talk to him, or comment or post in here, and you can talk to almost any mushroom expert on this planet. So you can go to chapters and look at the mushroom ID books that are there, and then you can go in these groups, and the people who wrote those mushroom guides are in these groups. I'm not even joking. The experts in this field are so accessible to learn from. It's bonkers. There's also a really cool app called iNaturalist that you can download. And this app allows you not only to contribute to citizen science, so you can take a picture of your mushroom and post it, and it will help scientists with the data that you give. So they'll know that that mushroom grows there, what time of year, blah, 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 blah. But also, they will help you ID your mushroom. So it does have an AI that will give you a guess for the mushroom, but then there's peer review. So once you post it, somebody will come along, and if the AI is not correct, it'll say, nope, this is that mushroom. And then even somebody else can come on and say, no, that person's wrong. It's this mushroom. So it's really cool to have that peer review. So I wanted to talk about deadly mushrooms, because that's one of my specialties. I always encourage people, if you're going to get into mushroom foraging, it's really important that you learn the deadly mushrooms too. Don't just learn the edible mushrooms, learn the deadly mushrooms. So this right here is the deadliest mushroom in New Brunswick. One of the deadliest mushrooms on the entire planet. It's called a destroying angel. This is what it looks like as a baby. It will open up and flatten out, but it's all white. It's ghostly white. It has a white sac when it opens up. It has a white skirt. Super duper deadly. If you want to forage mushrooms, you need to know about this guy. It's a really good idea when you're learning about mushrooms. to seek help. So whether you're using one of those resources I listed or talking to somebody like me, don't eat anything unless you run it by somebody. There are no tricks that are going to help you. There's a lot of them that kind of float around on the internet, like all this color mushroom is poison, or all that color mushroom is edible, or all mushrooms that grow on wood are fine, or all much. There's no rules like that. They're all dangerous. I've even heard somebody talk about like boiling a mushroom with an onion or a silver coin. Like, there's no trick. There's no trick. The only way to be safe when it comes to mushrooms is to know exactly what mushroom you have by looking at the features and comparing them to a mushroom that you know is safe. So you have a description of a mushroom that's safe and you compare your mushroom to that mushroom. That's why you want to seek backup, because when we're first learning, our eyes aren't used to looking for those features, right? So it's really important to ask for help when you're getting started. And I'm going to teach you guys a super cool, super easy mushroom. So some of the best mushrooms to start with when you're foraging for mushrooms as a beginner are what I like to call foolproof mushrooms. So these are mushrooms that are, number one, really easy to find. Number two, really easy to ID. So these mushrooms are super unique. The features that they have don't really exist anywhere else in the fungal kingdom, which makes them very easy to ID. And number three, they don't really have any dangerous lookalikes. So those are the best mushrooms to start with. And this is one of those mushrooms. So this guy is called a lobster mushroom. He's really, really cool for so many reasons. But one of the first reasons that he's so cool is he's not actually a mushroom in the way that most mushrooms are a mushroom. So he's not the fruit of any mushroom organism. He's actually a fungus that grows on a mushroom. So when this mushroom was under the ground, it was a different mushroom. And then it got parasitized under the ground by a fungus called hypomyces. And this fungus attacked that mushroom, and this is what it made. So that's why you can't really see any gills. It's more like little bumpy waves. It's not like separate gill structures. So it's really, sometimes it can be really smooth too. See how there's almost nothing under this mushroom? It's just really smooth. This mushroom is super hard. So it's not like soft and fleshy like a grocery store mushroom. It's really, really firm, almost kind of like a turnip. You know what a turnip feels like? That's kind of what these guys feel like. Really, really firm. They're also super gnarly because they grow up in the ground. So they can be really dirty and weird, especially on the top. I picked two really pristine ones for this picture because they're really, really lovely. But they can look definitely more gnarly like this.
Just to be clear.
Sorry?
Just to be clear, the lobster mushroom is the one on the right.
These are all lobster.
All of them? Okay. Even the one on the left?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll cover that in a sec. But so this mushroom, the most interesting defining feature that he has is that he smells very strongly like seafood. So he's firm. He doesn't have any discernible gill blades. He can have little waves, but there's no gill blades. So his discerning features, or his most important features that you need to make sure you're seeing, is he's really firm, hard like a turnip. He doesn't have any discernible gills, and he smells like seafood. Generally, he's going to be orange or red, but sometimes he can be more white with just a hint of orange or red. See it? But see, he still has no gill blades. He is super duper firm, and he smells like seafood. Really, really, really easy to ID mushroom. Also, his inner flesh is white, just like the meat of a lobster. So usually reddish or orangish outside, white inside, seafood smell, very firm flesh, no bladed gills. Really easy, super delicious mushroom. I love to make seafood chowder with him, but you don't put any seafood in it. It's a little trickstery. So you just cook a corn chowder with this guy, and it tastes like seafood chowder. It's freaking incredible. He's a delicious mushroom, super safe, great beginner mushroom. And that is it for my presentation. I can answer questions now.
question here. Where do you find these?
So lobster mushrooms, not usually. Generally, I find them around pine spruce or fir. So the other kind of conifer trees. Also, they really tend to like growing near water. Not like really close to water, but there's going to be a stream generally within a kilometer of these. So it's not super close, but fairly close. They also really like sandy soil.
It's funny you say that because every time I find some, whenever I find like a big spot, it seems to be more in rocky roads where
Mhm.
you have spruce growing on the rocks.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
also really like disturbed soil. They really love disturbed soil. So you'll find them sometimes on ATV trails, near ATV trails, near animal trails. So anywhere where there's a lot of vibration or there's a lot of disturbing of the soil, they really enjoy that. What else did I want to say about them? Oh yeah, if you're looking them up online, some sources will tell you because it's a parasite, because it grows on a host mushroom, and it's just a parasitic fungus that you shouldn't eat it because there's no way of knowing whether it's safe or not. But that's not true. The parasite that grows on this mushroom is host specific. So the only time it will make a lobster is when it grows on this specific type of mushroom. So if it grows on a different type of mushroom, it's not going to look like a lobster. So that's how you know that it's safe. You're allergic to lobster. Could you eat these? So that is a little bit. There's a lot of iodine in it. So some people say that that can cause problems for people with lobster allergies. I only just learned this a couple of months ago. To my knowledge, I have a lot of friends who are allergic to seafood and lobster and shellfish, and they eat these mushrooms and they don't have any problems. But I would suggest caution. Do we have other questions? I think there were a whole bunch at the top.
Well, there were more
How long is
comments.
your program?
Oh, I can go for as long as you want. You can bring another one of your slideshows if you want. I usually try to go for at least an hour and a half. But
So Dave wants to grow mushrooms. We already told him that he can't really grow them on old stumps.
yeah, I,
What is the best edible kind to grow? I can talk about that.
yeah. There's a company not too far that sells those logs with the mushrooms already in them.
Yes, you can get that, but this mushroom is really easy to grow. Can you guys see this? Yes, no, maybe so.
I put it on full screen.
Yes?
Ruguzonanulata.
Yeah. So these are called wine caps or garden giants. You can buy the spawn from these guys online. It's not hard to find. And you make a wood chip bed and you mix the spawn in with wood chips in your backyard. They are super easy to grow. You just have to make sure you keep it in the shade, keep it moist. And generally, not only are they easy to grow, but they're very prolific and they grow very fast. So a lot of the times, if you're cultivating mushrooms, it takes a couple of years. Especially if you're doing logs, it can take 2 to 3 to 4 years to get mushrooms from a log. But this mushroom, your wine caps, you can plant them in the spring and harvest them in the fall. So just about 6 months, which is the fastest turnaround you're going to get for mushrooms.
Cool.
Yes. Oysters are another one that are very easy to grow. Same thing, 6 months. No, these are not. I only have 3 spots where they grow in the wild, and these spots are in nature parks where they have mulched a whole bunch of stuff and created like either a mulch bed or just like a big pile of mulch in the forest. And it's this artificial mulch is where I find wine caps. They do grow sometimes on lawns, sometimes but usually you're gonna find them in a mulch bed. Like somebody put mulch there on purpose. What is the remedy if you eat a harmful mushroom? That is a difficult question because every mushroom contains a different type of toxin that will be treated in a different way. Most mushroom poisonings are treated symptomatically, so they would support the symptoms. There are some mushrooms that destroy the cells and the liver. In the case of that mushroom, they give you IV fluids and a compound that protects your liver. So they dilute the poison with IV fluids, and then they give you a compound that protects your liver. And generally, if you get in fast enough with that, there's a pretty good chance. The issue is waiting too long. Because if you wait too long after you eat a bad mushroom, you could be in trouble. But if you're taking your time, you're getting to know your mushrooms, you get to know your poison mushrooms, you check, you talk to an expert before you eat it, generally you're going to be pretty safe. It's not a super dangerous hobby if you're taking your time, if you're being careful. Most mushroom hunters that get in trouble, they get complacent. So if you're interested, you can search, go on Google and type in the words, "I ate a destroying angel and survived." And it's an account of a gentleman who ate a destroying angel, the most toxic mushroom around, and he survived. But he was in a rush and he didn't have his book and he didn't bother checking. And that's going to be the case almost all the time. Walmart in the States sells inoculated straw mushroom kits. Any safety precautions you suggest when using them? I'm not sure what you mean by safety precautions. Can you elaborate? What are the typical symptoms of eating the wrong mushroom? That's a great question. So, there are different types of mushroom toxins, and how quickly a toxin starts to affect you and what symptoms come up help to tell us what mushroom you may have eaten. So, usually within an hour, you'll have an upset belly, vomiting, diarrhea, nausea, that type of thing. There's one that'll make you drool really bad and like tear up and cry. That one usually hits within 20 minutes to an hour. The most scary toxins, the ones that damage your cells and hurt your liver, those ones actually take a whole hour, or I'm sorry, a whole 6 hours. So if you eat a mushroom and then 6 hours later, 6 to 8 hours later, you get symptoms, that's when you should be really, really, really worried. But again, if you're taking your time, you're getting to know your mushrooms, that shouldn't happen, right?
Activated charcoal, clay, and milk depend on mushroom type of mushrooms.
I mean, it's I wouldn't use those against like a really nasty mushroom. You know what I mean? Like your cell destroyers. Chanterelles, king boletes, morels, those are great choices. Those are really great choices for beginner mushrooms. Tricky tails too. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going through the rest of the questions. And if we have time, I will. My son and I get migraines from mushrooms, and I get hives from campfire smoke with fungus logs. That's interesting. Can I make a suggestion, Buttercup and Fern Homestead? You might want to look into histamine because mushrooms are really high in histamines. And if you get migraines from mushrooms, you might have a histamine issue. So a problem where your body is activated from too much histamine. It can be caused by leaky gut syndrome, and it can be caused by mast cell activation syndrome and other like digestive and gut issues, but it might be worth looking into. Or it could just be a mushroom allergy. But yeah, my histamine uh, alarm bells went off in my head for a histamine issue with that. See, yeah, black mold toxin exposure can also cause issues with histamine. Yeah. Just looking through so many toxic plants. Yeah, um, there's actually a misconception that mushrooms are more dangerous than plants, and it's actually not true. Plants are far more dangerous than mushrooms because plants can hurt you through your skin, through your mucous membranes, and there's a larger percentage of toxic plants. But I just use the same rules for plants that I use for mushrooms. I don't eat anything unless I know 100% what it is. And if I haven't eaten it before, I ask for backup every time.
Mm.
Just, yeah, I think I'm caught up.
Yeah, South Florida sunshine. Elaborate on the question. Is using these kits inside, uh, since they are spread by spore, a good idea?
So that's a good question too. So mushrooms do eject spores. If you're only growing one or two kits inside, it's not going to be a problem. We actually inhale spores all the time. Every breath you inhale has spores in it. There are spores everywhere from mushrooms outside, mushrooms in the environment. The only time that spores of mushrooms will be a problem inside is in like a farm setting. So if you have a whole operation where you're growing mushrooms and you have many, many kits, you need a mask, a breathing mask. Dryad saddle. That's one of my foolproof mushrooms. That is such a great foolproof mushroom, and it's going to be out soon. And I'm so excited for it.
Never heard of the name.
You haven't? Oh, we haven't done the spring.
Nope.
We haven't. We're doing spring next week, eh?
Yeah.
Chaga. Chaga is a mushroom, kind of. It's a fungus, but it's slightly different from most mushrooms. Shiitake is not native to around here. In some places in the United States, it's escaped cultivation, so it grows wild in the United States in some places, but it's not native. It doesn't occur all around here. Lots of turkey tail lookalikes. So many turkey tail lookalikes. Most of them are just as cool as turkey tail. So if you find anything that looks like turkey tail, you should try to figure out what it is, because most of the turkey tail lookalikes are super cool too.
Cool. Um, so just for the people that don't know, you're teaching me about foraging. Um, how to how would someone go if they wanted to learn a little bit more? And I know you're giving a few different kind of classes.
So right now, I don't have any one-on-one. So Remy and I are doing one-on-one. So I meet once a week. We meet, and I teach him directly one-on-one. I don't have any of those openings right now, but I might open some more up soon. If you want to follow me, my website is being upgraded right now. So it's not super. It's just Oh gosh, what am I looking for? It's like a landing page right now, so it's not complete yet. But you can find me on Facebook, Enchanted Mushroom Forest, or Enchanted Mushroom Forest Foraging and Folk Medicine. So you can find me on there, and you can see what I'm doing. You'll see if any one-on-one spots open up. But I am starting in March a class, a group class that has both a virtual option and a virtual and in-person option. So there's going to be some virtual classes just like this, with the slideshow and the learning and the talking. And it's going to cover all of my favorite spring edibles, mushrooms, and plants. And it's going to cover, uh, it's a crash course in herbalism too. So how I make tinctures, how I make infusions, how I make oils and salves. And we're going to talk about using the things that we find in the spring to make stuff like that. I'm also going to talk about my favorite like food recipes with the mushrooms that we find. So it's going to be really fun. It's my first herbalism and foraging combination class. So I'm really, really excited for it. And there is still space on that class in both the virtual portion and the in-person portion. If you want to join, you can find all the details on my group. I kind of want to show everybody a pheasant back now, a dryad saddle.
Go
I
ahead.
got a few more minutes. Do you guys want to learn about a dryad saddle real quick?
Yeah, you got 10
Oh,
hours if you want.
I got other things I gotta do. Otherwise, I would stay. I love talking about mushrooms. You can't. I talk, man. I go out sometimes in like everyday life world stuff, and I'll get on the topic of mushrooms, and I'll just be like, you need to stop me," because I won't stop. I love talking about mushrooms. Um, so we have two questions I want to answer before we hop onto the dryad saddle train. My opinion on magic mushrooms, particularly the health benefits of microdosing. So I would be dead. I would be dead without it. I would have died without microdosing. It saved my life 100%. I've got PTSD. I've got complex PTSD. It's very almost dormant at this point. I've learned a lot of strategies. I've done a lot of conventional therapy and like different things for years, and group therapy and addictions counseling and all that stuff. And it was kind of helpful, but it didn't really get to the root of it. The mushrooms, what they do is, um, have you guys ever heard the expression "what wires together, fires together"? Have you heard that? So it's an
Mhm.
expression to describe your brain. And when you have something happen in your brain, it's like how habits are formed, right? If we do the same thing for so many times, that habit is formed and then it becomes automatic in our brain, right? Or if every time I like to use ice cream. I don't know why I like to use ice cream. When I'm explaining this, for some reason, that's what I use. So let's say you're a kid and every time you ask for ice cream, no, this did not happen to me. I just use it as an example. Every time you ask for ice cream, your friend punches you in the face. So let's say that happens for like 6 months. So after that, your brain is going to be conditioned because those neurons wired together. Every time you were wanted ice cream, you got punched in the face. So what's going to happen after that is every time you want ice cream, you're going to be scared that you're going to get punched in the face. That's how it works. Those neurons will wire together. This is how trauma works for a lot of people. This is how flashbacks work, like trauma flashbacks. So, what the mushrooms do is instead of taking 600 times for your brain to undo that connection, because it takes hundreds of times normally for your brain to undo a connection like that. Uh, with the help of mushrooms, it would only take maybe 10. So it
Wow.
allows those neural connections to dislodge from each other and form in newer and healthier ways. My pleasure. Really, really incredible medicinal potential for people with anxiety, for people with depression, for people with trauma. Really, really beautiful, beautiful medicine. There was another question.
Yeah. What are the mushrooms that glow in the dark?
There are so many that glow in the dark. My favorite are jack-o'-lanterns, which are a poisonous mushroom. They're big and orange, and they grow on wood in the fall. And they grow on oak, especially oak stumps. They're poison. You don't want to eat them, but they're gorgeous and neon orange, and they glow like a green color almost. And then there's another one called a bitter oysterling, and this one is tiny, and it's growing now. You could go into the woods right now and see it. I found one last week. I'll post a video on my page about it tonight if you guys want to see it. Can we go back to my screen share?
Yep.
I'm gonna show y'all the dryad saddle before we call it quits for the show. So here is a dryad saddle. This is it when it's young. So they call it at this stage. They call it a pig snout. So it kind of looks like a little pig nose. So this is the baby form. here's the adult form right here. Oh, that's gorgeous. Oh, we need a bigger picture maybe. So this is a super unique mushroom. It's definitely a foolproof mushroom. I wish I could make these pictures bigger. You guys can see this okay though, eh? So this is a big flat shelf-like mushroom that comes out from the wood, shaped like a shelf almost. They stack on top of each other. They don't have any gills. They have pores or holes on the other side. They have a feathery pattern on the top. That's why they call them a dryad saddle or a pheasant back, because of that feathery pattern on the top. They also smell like cucumber or watermelon rind. So all of those things together, the shelf-like pores growing on the wood, the feathery pattern, the cucumber watermelon rind smell, those features together make this guy foolproof. There's nothing else that's like that. He's also delicious. They call him a consolation prize because he likes the same habitat as morel mushrooms. So people will go out hunting for morels and they'll find him and they'll be like, oh, you took home a consolation prize. I disagree. I think he's really, really yummy. I think he's a prize. I like to cook him. When they're small like this, they're very, very soft. And you can cut them up and cook them and eat them just like a mushroom, a regular mushroom. When they get big, oh, we're not looking at pheasant backs anymore there. Hold on. When they get really big like this, they get really big. They can get bigger than your head. They get firm, really hard and fibrous in the middle. And some people will say they're no good at that stage, but you can still use them for broth. And they make a really, really good broth. Probably the tastiest broth I've ever had in my entire life. And this is a spring mushroom, and it will be out very, very soon. And I hope that you guys find one. It likes elm and maple wood.
Cool.
Yeah.
Donnie had another question.
Sure.
If I take my UV flashlight out at night, will I be able to see some glowing mushrooms?
Yeah, for sure. So if a mushroom glows under a UV light, it's fluorescent. There are many more mushrooms that are fluorescent than there are mushrooms that glow by themselves. So if you've got a mushroom in the dark and it's glowing by itself, it's luminescent. But if you have a mushroom that glows under a black light, it's fluorescent. So those are two different things. There are many glow in the dark or luminescent mushrooms. There are many, many fluorescent mushrooms.
Consolation prize is a good description, easier to find, but not as tasty.
Yeah, I do find it as tasty as morels, but I've never found a fresh morel either. I've only had bought dried morels and rehydrated them and cooked them. But I would put a dryad saddle in my top 10, right with many other delicious mushrooms.
Hopefully, I'll be able to go to the Eastern Ontario Homesteaders Conference, and if I go, wherever I'm going, spend the night. They told me that there were a lot of morels around, so hopefully I can go with you. That'd be nice.
There's a lot of morels in Ontario, a lot more than there are here in New Brunswick. Wickershire Project asked about Lactarius indigo. That's a blue milk cap. That is an edible mushroom, and it is a delicious edible mushroom. Here, you guys can look at it because it's really pretty. We don't have them in New Brunswick, but they grow in a lot of places in the Midwestern United States. There they are. We do have one here in New Brunswick that's orange, neon orange. Looks just like this. They call it a milk cap because where you damage the gills, a milky substance will come out of it.
Well, I sent you a picture a while back, maybe like 3 months ago. It was a blue mushroom. I don't know if you remember. I don't know what it was.
You would think I would remember that. We have blue wax caps, and we have blue, like hedgehog lookalikes. We do have a few blue mushrooms, but we don't have this guy. He's really cool, though.
I can find it.
He also smells like Fruit Loops, guys. Can you tell I really like cool mushroom smells? Look at that hollow stem. Isn't that freaking gorgeous? This is probably one of the prettiest mushrooms on the planet. And that's saying something because there's a lot of really cool, pretty mushrooms. Cool.
Yeah, let me just show. I just want to show the pictures, just to show people, like, you know, present, share screen. Let's see if I can show that.
I can't see your thing.
No, it won't be long.
Okay.
There it is.
Donnie is. Oh, that was Stropharia aeruginosa. Yes. So that guy is related to the line caps that we were looking at to grow in wood chip beds.
Okay.
This guy is a relative of that guy. He's called the bluehead Stropharia.
Is that one edible?
Yeah.
Cool.
It might be mildly toxic. The jury is out on that one, but it's not dangerous.
Okay.
But it's not really food either. So Donnie's asking, do forest mammals eat mushrooms? Deers, raccoons, coyotes, bobcats? There are definitely some mammals that eat mushrooms. Deers do eat some mushrooms, but the biggest one that eats mushrooms are squirrels. Yeah, very often, if you're in the woods and you see a gill-stemmed mushroom just hanging out on a branch in the tree, and you're like, what is that? That's a ground mushroom. Why is that growing on a tree? It's not growing on a tree. A squirrel put it there to dry it, to keep it for winter. And you'll sometimes see them running across the forest with a mushroom in their mouth. Yeah, they like mushrooms.
That's pretty cool. Squirrels. I just want to finish off. Well, I don't know what time you have to go. I'm not kicking you out. You can stay as long as you want.
No, I do gotta go. I do gotta go in a minute.
Okay. I just want people to realize that I was afraid of mushrooms at first. I don't know if you remember when I started talking to you. And first of all, I have to say that having a teacher like you is incredible, because people in the chat, like, if you have a chance to have someone like Jessika to teach you, she's pretty much available 24/7. I've been sending her pictures while I was hunting, and if I go for a hike, I can send her pictures, and I'll be at home and check some stuff and ask her questions, and she's always there to answer my questions, and that ended up making me feel a lot safer about plants and mushrooms in general. So it's kind of pretty cool that one step at a time, I started learning about the chanterelles. I had some people showing me in the field what it was, and ask questions, try to identify, do the research, and like one of the things you told me not too long ago, I think it was maybe like 2 weeks ago, is you would never feel offended if you told me something and I would ask someone else for a second opinion. That right there means the world, because too often we're going to ask someone and we kind of feel like we don't feel safe, and we're kind of afraid to go ask someone else because what is she going to think? I'm just ask her, but what you told me that day was spot on.
Yeah, no, it's always a good idea to get more than one opinion. It's always a good idea to get more than one opinion. And if I see one of my students getting a second opinion from somebody, I get proud of them because that's what I taught them. You always want to get more than one source. You always want to make sure you're paying close attention, using caution. So Wickershire Project says fear of mushrooms is a good thing. And again, I do have to disagree. It's not fear. I never want to encourage fear of mushrooms, but I would encourage very healthy respect and caution. So again, I want to bring in complacency. So it's overconfidence and complacency. So assuming you know what you have, assuming because it looks similar that it must be the same thing, that's where you're going to get in trouble. If you're afraid of it, then maybe you won't try, maybe you won't look because you're afraid. Maybe you don't want to get into mushrooms. Maybe you don't even want to pick the mushroom up and look at the underside. Did you guys know all mushrooms are safe to touch? So there's a really deeply ingrained fear societally of mushrooms, and it's just, in my opinion, it's unfounded. All mushrooms are safe to touch. You can touch them, you can smell them, you can touch your face, eyes, or mouth after handling a toxic mushroom, and it will not hurt you. Yeah, right? See, this is the thing. We were taught as children to fear mushrooms. Don't look at them, don't touch them, don't make eye contact. They'll get you, right? This is what we were raised. Yeah, no, you can touch all of the mushrooms. You could take the deadliest mushroom in the world and lick it, and it wouldn't hurt you. You can rub your eyes. You can eat after having a poisonous mushroom in your hand. You can take your hand and eat without washing your hands. It will not hurt you. The only way that a poisonous mushroom is going to hurt you is if you eat it. That's it. So if you don't eat it, you're totally fine. And this is the thing. Most people don't know this. Most people don't know this. This is one of the other reasons why plants are not as safe as mushrooms. Now, it doesn't matter what I'm foraging. I always want to get a second opinion, make sure I know what I'm doing, make sure I know the poison lookalikes, right? Every single thing, plant or mushroom, those are the rules I use. I never assume I know. I always double check and look and look. Got to. So important. But mushrooms are not anywhere near as dangerous as we were raised to believe. Just don't go eating stuff if you're not sure of it. Don't go eating stuff. What?
Guess what?
What?
There's a little delay in here compared to right? So we can give him a second or two.
Is it chicken butt? It does make taking pictures easier. Beautiful. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. Yes.
Cool.
Mushrooms are beautiful and wonderful, and they enrich my life in so many ways, and I'm really happy that you gave me the opportunity to talk to you guys and teach you guys some stuff.
Well, thank you very much for being here. I love it. I see your little memes on Facebook sometimes about how you always talk about mushrooms, and it's like, okay, you can talk to me about mushrooms all you want. I know, I mean, I don't really know a lot about them. I'm just starting to learn, but it's incredible. Like you see, right, especially nowadays where cost of food is so high, to know that you can actually go outside in the backyard, gather some food. Like we talk about mushrooms today, but maybe at some other time you can come and talk about wild edibles. It'd be nice. I'm gonna try to do a little bit more videos about that aspect because there's a lot of plants that I actually know a little bit about.
Mm-hmm.
But I find it kind of cool that so much food and it's free. It's right there for free.
There's like so much. I can't even really give you a solid idea of how much food is out there. I'm on my Facebook group for a second. I want to see if I can find my reels because there's one that I took that is a video of 9 or 10 different plants in a 5 square foot of grass. And it's just mind-boggling that it's just right there. So much. No, I don't know if I can find it. I'm so used to it on my phone, not on my browser.
Yeah.
But if I give it to you, can you show everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. I will find it for you on my phone and I will send it to you so you can show everybody. But It's really cool, guys. Just in the area around my house, there's about 35 species of plant, berry, and mushroom just in the 1 to 2 block radius around my house. I can just go on a walk the couple of blocks around my house and pick a giant basket of mushrooms and plants every day in the summer and fall, every day.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because once you start knowing those plants, like I go for a drive in the woods and it's be like oh, look, I can eat this, I can eat this, I can eat this, and I can eat this and this and this. If shit hit the fan, um, there's a lot of wild plants out there. Can probably
Mhm.
save your life.
Yep, there's tons, tons and tons, and a lot of them are really nutrient dense too.
Yeah,
Uh, like a lot of nutrients in a lot of these foods.
cool.
Yeah.
Any last question before Jessica has to leave? So I will invite everyone in the chat, anyone watching this on a replay, go check out your Facebook page. There's a lot of information out, like on your Facebook page. A lot of people that share stuff, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to reach out to some people that know about that stuff, because that's how you learn. And once you start learning about that stuff, it's limitless. There's so many plants, so many mushrooms, so many fruits, so many things growing out there. The dark forest of Worcestershire.
Oh, very cool. Did you smell it? It smells like Fruit Loops. I love it. Someday I will smell one. It will be lovely.
I
Yeah,
would
there
just
is.
love to find morel at some point.
That is one of my favorite aspects of foraging. That there's no end to what you can learn. With herbalism too. It's
Yeah,
lifelong learning.
that's pretty cool. Awesome, Moonsprout. 2:35 seconds in.
It's lovely to have you. All
Awesome.
right. Well, thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much. And I'll see you in a
Next
few
week.
days. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a class next week.
Awesome. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Hope you enjoyed. Next week, I will have one of the people that was in the chat. I don't know if she's still here. Donnie Wanders. I found her channel last week, and I was hooked. Uh, she's not a homesteader. She's not necessarily how can I say that? Like, she doesn't do what we do per se, but she goes out in nature, she explores, and I find that through her videos, I feel like I'm there with her. I feel like I'm actually exploring the rivers, the falls, and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. So next week, next Friday, I will have her here. Yeah, she's still here. Um, we will be talking about the basics, what she likes, why she's doing it. You have to be in good health. Do you bring any specific things? Um, Stay tuned for that. Hopefully, it will be interesting as well. And yeah, she's still here. Looking forward to chatting. Now, don't be shy. Don't be scared. You don't need to prepare the way Jessica was. She's actually teaching. She's got a lot of stuff done and ready. We could just have like a face-to-face conversation, like two friends sitting next to a coffee table, and we'll have some fun. Um, well, before we go, yeah, let's chat about the basics of getting outside. Exactly, because there's always people interested in going out, exploring nature. Um, it might not be homesteading stuff per se, but at the same time, people that live off grid, they're pretty much always out in nature, outside. Uh, we've been talking about foraging. If you go out for foraging, maybe you don't forage, but it's always good to be prepared, and you have that skill, those skills. Well, I did different tonight. Instead of having coffee, this is white pine needle and shaga tea. But it's actually doing the opposite. It's kind of making me sleepy a little bit, but it's really, really good. I had a crazy day today. A crazy fun day. I'm not used to have the possibility to make so much overtime, and it's a pretty cool thing because I can bank my hours, and that's going to give me some time off for the conference in Ontario. Um, so, for those of you who don't know, May 4th, this is the third year. It's going to happen for a third year in a row. Eastern Ontario Homesteaders Conference. It's happening. Dave, if you're still there, you remember what's the name of the little community where it is? Maybe Marilyn is still here as well. Trying to remember. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, we're always like you're living off grid. You're always outside because there's really not much to do inside. So yeah, that conference is about the homesteader stuff. A lot of farmers, a lot of hog gridders. Thomas, it's close to you. Actually, I think it's even closer this year, McDonald's Corner. But I think it's more, it's closer to Mike and Angie's place. It's going to be a little bit further from me, well, from here, but closer to where we actually sleep. I just put the sound on again. Let me rewind your question. Oh, you're not even listening. Don't put it on mute, though. You can put the volume at 1, but not on mute. You won't give me the watch hours. You talking about Jessica or about Donnie? She's right here. Just a sec. I will send you the link. Yeah, and I put the link there. We like to encourage each other here. Feel free to subscribe, watch, give thumbs up, comment. McDonald's Corner. Yeah, I think it's actually closer to. What's the name? Let me just check. It's going to be time for me to change the batteries in my wireless mouse. So, where is it? Well, I thought it wasn't Eastern Ontario. Okay, McDonald's Corner. No, that was last year. Denby, Ontario, or Denby, depending how it's pronounced. Yeah, Denby, Ontario, or Denby, Ontario. I don't know how it's pronounced, but that's where it is. I didn't see what was going to happen yet. But like last year, we had Tracy from THN 141 doing a little presentation on solar panels, batteries, and everything needed to go off grid. We had Ron and Jenny, was it, that made a presentation about restoring an old farm. I know there was also someone with talking about bees. There was someone talking about was it like crafting, um, making baskets or something like that with natural material, or and there's a bunch of vendors there as well. Darren from Thorhaven Farm was there, selling some of Bridget's awesome dishcloth, and it was the first year. Okay. Yeah, there was someone talking about burnout, homesteading burnout. It's always based on homesteading, but it's always cool. Like, I could, in theory, go there and make a presentation about um, wild edibles, or something like Jessica just did, mushrooms. Survival equipment, survival stuff needed if you go out in the woods, things like that. It's always interesting, but to be honest, the reason that most of us go there is to meet each other. A bunch of YouTubers getting together. Let's just say that when there's no camera rolling, we go crazy. We laugh. Like, we don't do anything illegal. We stay civilized, but um, my heart is still racing. I can touch any mushroom. Yeah, you'll be able to take some beautiful pictures and send it to whoever you want. If you join those Facebook groups, that knowledge means the world to me. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that at least you learned something, right? Whenever I hear someone like Jessica talking about the wild plants, the wild mushrooms, I always feel more and more secure, more not as stressed, I should say, about what I'm going for. Last year, I took a class. Her name was Julie Wild. She was giving a class about the wild plants, and we just went around the building, and we found like 20 different plants that we could eat. And she was showing us the plants. We were actually able to taste them if we wanted to. And she harvested some and made a little snack for us once we got in. I actually took her class twice. I paid twice because, well, like Jessica said, there's nothing wrong with being confident. There's nothing wrong with being sure about what you're harvesting. And when I got there the second time, she looked at me and she's like, "Oh, I don't mind that you're here, but it might be boring for you because we're gonna go over some of the same plants again." I'm like, no, like, I want to be sure about what the plants are. I had my little notebook the first time, but it was raining and I couldn't get to really take notes or anything. Like, I couldn't really take pictures. So this time I was ready with my cell phone to take pictures of the plants. And as soon as she would explain a plant, I would Google it, write the name of the plant, Google it, screenshot, and take a picture of the plant. So I had like the two identification, like the real plant and Google picture. And I knew I had the right name. So when I got home, it was easy for me to go back and not study, but look at them again and be sure about what I was actually looking for. Is there going to be stands and that at the new location? Yes. If you look on the Facebook page, Jessica sent me the reels. Let's see if I can actually show it to you. The reveal. Okay. Let me put that back. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you what Jessica wanted you to see. Share screen. But yes, go on the Facebook page, Thomas, and search for Eastern Ontario Homesteaders Conference. You should have some information there about who to reach, who to talk to, what to look for, and so on. So this is what Jessica wanted you to see. I don't know if you let me know if you can hear the sound that's coming out of it. So can you hear? Can you guys hear? Just want to make sure you can actually hear. I paused it there, but before I put it on pause, could you hear the sound? No one's answering. Does that mean nobody can hear? Hello, Cindy. Nice to have you here. All right. So if you can't hear, well, I can send the link so you guys can go and take a look at it after. Yeah, you can't hear. I can actually hear it. Okay. So I put the link in the description. You can go and take a look. No, she's at. I hope the link works. Yeah, so it's right there. Okay. So if you click on the link, hopefully you can go. At worst comes to worst, it's going to bring you to the to our Facebook page. Once you subscribe to her link, you should be able to listen to the video. She's talking about dandelion, sorrel, a few different kind of plants. Actually, it's actually pretty cool. Yeah, relearning. Not necessarily relearning, but more like making sure about what I was actually seeing, because you see plants, but you see them once. If I see it 5 times in a row in a week, I won't remember. But if I see it now and I see it again in a week and maybe again in a year from now, there's more chance that my memory will connect the dots and I'll remember that kind of stuff. Practice makes perfect. And also, I have to say that she made us taste some sea plantain. Oh, that's dangerous for me because it's so good. Imagine eating lettuce with salty taste. That was pretty cool. This is conference. Yeah, 9431 Central Street. Not far from Mike and Angie's. Hello, Cindy. Yeah, I hope that we can actually meet up again this year. Canner system. So you're going to start pressure canning? Is that what you mean? Awesome. Super Ant brand. I'm curious to see what it is. Super Ant canner. Well, it's a pretty expensive one. Which size did you get? Which one did you get? Like the All-American, or that one is actually pretty cool, and they're actually pretty expensive. That's pretty awesome. Once you start canning, dehydrating, smoking, I still freeze a lot because most of the time, if we go out of power, it's in the winter, and there's snow, there's ice, and I'm still pretty safe. But for sure, she's sending me another cool video. Let me share another video. It was Tracy's prize. Oh, cool. Yeah, I missed that live stream. So I just shared another video that Jessica sent me, and I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, preserving if I go out of power. The thing is, if I go out of power, I still have propane stove. I still have like one propane tank here. I still have firewood in the back that I can actually go make some fire. And it might be a struggle a little bit to learn exactly how to use the pressure canner with fire, but it's doable. We got Super Blast being off grid. It's a critical part of the matrix of living here. Yeah. And any of you guys ever watched the TV show Homestead Rescue with Marty? What's his last name now? I'll probably have it open here. Marty. I have Renner in mind, but I know it's not Renner. Marty Rainey, the Rainey's family. It is Marty, is it? Marty, Matt, and Misty Rainey. Yeah. So picture they have there is not even her. So yeah, they're at season 11 now, and I kind of find it interesting that I know it's always like, I don't want to say fake, but they always like exaggerate or show things in a way that they come and they're like the big superheroes, and I know there's a lot of drama added to the show to make it more interesting for people, but I find it cool and interesting to see the ideas that they come up with, the things that they do. Sometimes it's so simple, but you look at it and it's like, oh, this is something I could do. This is something I could implement here. So if you've never watched that show, it's pretty cool and interesting. You should go and take a look. What else? Was there anything interesting that I wanted to talk about other than having Jessica here? I still didn't catch any single rabbit in my snares. I will go tomorrow morning to take a look. Overtime tonight, and by the time I got home, it was time to get ready for a live stream. Um, I didn't have time to go take a look, but I'll go tomorrow morning first thing. We didn't just jump off grid from the city. I spent 10 years researching everything. Cool. Yeah, because that's the one thing that we keep telling anyone that wants to be a homesteader, anyone that wants to be a farmer, anyone that wants to garden. Um, if you want to play it safe, go read on it, watch some videos on it, do your own research. Most of the time, you just have to do like a few clicks and you'll have pretty much the basics information of all you need to know. Some people will move out, they'll move off grid, but then they realize that it's not for them. They're not ready. It's not what they expected it to be. It's 1.5 year learning food and animals on a 30-acre co-op. Yeah, that's a few things you can do. There's so many ways that you can actually homestead. So many ways you can learn about homesteading, and it's the same thing about food. If you cannot teach off-grid life, you shouldn't be out there. Yeah, I don't think I could actually teach it, but it's something that I could see myself living. That's just because I'm not a good teacher. I'm not saying that it'd be easy, especially with the kids. They don't want to go off grid. My girlfriend, I don't think she wants to necessarily go off grid either. But I would love to have a cabin. Selj even told me the other day, like, if you want to build a little cabin, go on my property, take a few logs, build one, anything to just go out there and have some fun. So I'm thinking about maybe taking a few logs and just build a small, tiny cabin. I don't want to have anything too big because I don't want to have anything where I can go and live for like a year, I just want to go somewhere where I can disconnect. If I want to go spend a weekend there, if I want to go spend one night there, if I want to go for a walk in the winter, I can actually go there, have a little tiny fireplace. It might not be something that I'm going to have this year, but if by the end of the summer I have something that's going to last the winter without falling apart, and next year I can actually go there, sleep a few times a year in the summer with the kids. It doesn't need to be comfortable. I just want to have something that can go and be out of the, if it's raining, I can go and stay away from the weather, and have a little tiny place to have a little fireplace, listen to the animals, listen to the coyotes howl and all that kind of stuff. We all love the idea of it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's a romantic thought until you're chopping firewood and felling trees. Yeah. I'm not gonna go and search property in order to fell a bunch of trees. I don't want to cut this property down. I just want to have some place I can go and relax. It doesn't need to be bigger than a tent, really. Just something I can go and sleep. Grew up this way. It's nothing new to me. Yeah, and it's kind of something you take for granted. I remember when I was a kid, like we were talking about foraging. For me, I used to go out and harvest wild strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, hazelnuts. I'm used to go hunting grouse, deer, bear, moose. To me, like, it's just natural. I realized last year that some people didn't even know what a blueberry was. Some people didn't even know what a wild strawberry was. I'm good with the tent, index, blade, rolled up mat, and good quality sleeping bag. I can stay out here. Yeah, well, probably me too, as long as I would have my family with me, but the family doesn't want to come. So I will settle with, having a few weekends away here and there. Um, I also want to try to go fishing, you know, go fish. What you catch is what you eat in the morning, kind of thing with the kids. They're starting to feel a little bit more adventurous. And as long as there's fishing involved, they're probably willing to go and sleep in a tent. I'm more of a bushman. Elisa is more of the farmer. Together, we can do anything with the wisdom of our grandparents and parents too. That's pretty awesome. And you created a little community. I mean, we talk every once in a while. You ask questions about the camera equipment, but uh, you seem to be, um, how can I say that? I'm trying to find the right way to say it. Like you live alone with your girlfriend, but at the same time you're surrounding yourself with like-minded community. If you go for a hike and you have questions about foraging, I don't know about everything, but um, it's something I might be able to help you with regardless. Yes. Fist bump. Catch and cook is a great way to break others in. Exactly, yes. Gives them the idea that store food is an option. Back up. Yeah. Is there much crown land around you, Ram? Get yourself a little trailer and have some fun. The problem is, the reason I don't have a trailer is I'm broke. To be honest, I live paycheck to paycheck. I have to raise 5 kids, so you can imagine that all the money I have goes towards, um, school, clothes, food, internet, things like that. So I don't really have much left. My parents have a trailer in the woods. Uh, I really want to go um, spend a few nights here and there this summer if I can, because where they put their trailer is like a gold mine of lobster mushrooms. So I want to go there. I want to go harvest some. Whenever I go during the moose season, they're always all like pretty much dead. Like it's the end of the season, and I need to go like a month earlier. Probably find some chanterelles as well. And my cousin's son, it's actually his grandpa that owns the little land there. He has a camp there. He's there pretty often, and he's starting getting like he's interested in the wild edibles, but he's just at the stage of learning. He's going out with his book, and he doesn't want to eat anything. He doesn't want to try anything because he doesn't like. He wants to be sure, but he's kind of cute. Like he's only, well, he might be like 15 now, 14, 15 years old. Um, but he brings his book. He tries to identify the mushrooms. He takes pictures. It was funny. My cousin sent me a picture last, well, at the end of summer maybe. He sent me a bunch of pictures. He's like, I saw those mushrooms. Are they chanterelles? Are they good to eat? Well, I don't know because I would need to see the whole mushroom. Well, he's like, it was in the woods. I left them there. I wasn't sure. I'll go back later and take a look and send you more pictures. So a few hours later, he sends me those pictures. I'm like, okay, send me like underneath the mushroom. Show me the top. Show me the stem. He showed me pictures. I said, if you can open them and they feel like cheese, stringy cheese, that's a chanterelle. Those are actually pretty good. Just clean them up, like remove all the little pieces of wood you have on them, and fried in a pan with onions and butter. And he sends me a message like 15 minutes later. That was really, really good. Buddy, you shouldn't eat it before you ask the question. But he had his little nephew there with the book, and they were pretty sure that it was chanterelle. But hopefully he won't do it again. Yeah. But that's why Sal's offered to just go on his land and just build a little tiny cabin. He wants to have something there as well. And he wants to build a road because he has 100 acres. But the thing is, he's limited to about 2 acres because there's a beaver dam like right at the beginning of it, and it's overflowing on his road. They kind of made the dam in the middle of the road, so he can't really go across without disturbing the beavers. So he's trying to get rid of that dam slowly but surely. But as he like destroys the dam a little bit, the beavers go and try to fix it, but they always go a little bit more on the inside, which is what he wants to do, because if they go more on the inside, it means they're getting further away from the actual road. But he thinks that he might have to remove the dam all at once so that he can, get back there with the tractor and his Jeep and the four-wheeler. And, I learned from family on the old way. Everywhere else moves. Yeah. Yes. But I'm not rich in terms of money, but that's given me so much more. That's kind of like me and my fam right now, though my little brother is following my shoes. That's awesome. I made my little camper for around $500 in total. A lot of people are making stuff out of poor man's fiberglass now. Look it up. Fiberglass. It's cheap and neat. All you would have to do is make yourself a little frame. Yeah, and the frame, I was thinking about doing something with pallets. All you need to do really is go buy like a few. Might have some here actually. No, I use them. But just a few bricks or a few logs. Build my floor on top with pallets. And once I have the pallets in place, it's a floor. I've seen the slab shack that my buddy built behind his house. I think it's like 16 by 20, if not more. There was like 10 of us in there and was like full of space. And he's got like this propane stove, and he's got the Wi-Fi back there. We can actually go there and party all we want. And he said that it was under $1,000. I have a video on that if you want to go and take a look. I like a van down by the river. Yeah, you came in your van. That's pretty cool. Your van is pretty much ready to go. That's a fun thing about it. I put my little camper in the back of my truck and stayed all over on my way out west. It was a lot of fun. That's something I could actually keep in mind. If I go out, there's nothing stopping me from putting the seats down and just sleeping in the back of my Jeep. Now, in the summer, it might get really, really warm. Or if it's more in the spring or fall, it might get really cold. But, it's doable. Our tiny home, 16 by 40, will be paid off in 7 months. 3-year plan. Cool. Can't believe we've been here that long. It's just like we got here. Nice. That puts another $411 in our pocket to work with. Nice. Yeah, once you reach that, you'll be set. There's a program at college here where I work that is hunting and fishing course. They came back from winter survival for a few days today. They were smelling like smoked fish. Well, that's pretty cool though. Like, that's how you learn. That's how you, if something happens, like a lot of us say that, if zombie apocalypse happened, like we watch The Walking Dead and we'd be like, oh, I would survive, or yeah, this is probably where I would die, or this is, I could do this, or I could do that, and I could live like this, but we don't know. We don't know until it happens. I keep thinking that if I got lost in the woods, then I'd be fine. I'd be able to survive. I'd be able to live in the wild, especially when I go deer hunting. I always have like a way to make fire. I always have like a little tarp in my backpack. But it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to be out in the woods at night when you hear the coyotes, when you hear branches cracking all around you. Uh, you might hear bears. You never know. At least in the hunting season, you have a weapon with you to defend yourself, but it gets colder. So, you don't really have a sleeping bag. You don't have a tent. You would need to find a place to shelter from the wind and somewhere where you can actually make a fire, because if you don't have a fire, fire is life. There's a weird smell right now here, and it's not me. I have like this propane smell, but I don't have any propane inside. Weird. Anyway, don't smell it anymore. Zombies are city people. They are mindless, killing each other over a can of beans. Yeah. Wives back with the truck. We're back grabbing well water. Well, I'm gonna go any minute now anyway. I seen the Slap Shack. I made one similar when I was a kid. It's about 12 by 16. It's about 8 feet up in the trees. It had bunk beds and a wood stove. It's still standing. I haven't been in it for years. Nice. No, I don't have a stove here, so I don't know. Might be. I don't smell it coming from that way. I don't know. I don't smell it anymore. Not sure what it was. I took plumbing in college, but I smelled like. All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys know. Hopefully, you enjoyed today's live stream. I have a bunch of videos. Like I record the classes I take with her, because instead of writing down some notes, I can go back and watch them. And I was so hoping that she would come to a live stream at some point to teach you some of the stuff, because as you can see, she knows what she's talking about. She's passionate about it. If it's something that you're into, Thomas, you're always in the wild. You're always out there in the woods. Imagine going out for a week without needing to bring food. You go out fishing, trapping, hunting, and imagine what you could do if you were able to forage everything that's around you. She offers that. She offers classes. She's got free knowledge on her Facebook page. I didn't take any book learnings. Just been running skidder and equipment since I was 4, and ran a sawmill since I was 12. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Thank you, Dave. Thank you. All right, I will let you go. Thank you so much for being here. Hopefully you enjoyed. Next week, Donnie was going to be here with me to talk about hiking, going on little walks in the woods. I shared her channel earlier. Don't hesitate to go and give her a little hello, subscribe, comment a few videos. Pretty interesting. Like you see, sometimes you'll see videos about people going out in the wild where they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, or TV shows even. They don't make you feel like you're there. They are just making a show. Donnie makes you feel like you're there with her, watching what's going on. And that's what I like about the channel. So go take a look. I will see you again in a week, and I will hopefully have some videos up again this Wednesday. I think I already have a video ready. Let me check. Do I have a video ready for Wednesday? I think so. Schedule. Yeah, winter foraging. Yes, I actually did a video about winter foraging where I'm showing 3 different things that you can forage in the winter. and I actually harvested some of them and brought them home. I am trying to film. Filmed. I'm sorry. I'm trying to edit part 2 of winemaking. Um, and imagine I used to film in 4K, and I started filming in 1080, and it's still taking huge amount of power from my laptop to do the editing. So I have to kind of do one part at a time. And even then, it's not allowing me to do it. So I might have to transfer the stuff to my computer, transfer the files I need, export it as part 1, do like a second part, and do like a third part. And then once all the 3 parts are done, put them together, export that as another full video. So I'm going to have to see what I can do, but that's the plan anyway. I'm going to be working on that pretty much all weekend. Monday, the kids have a little handball tournament. They're a coach. I'm going to be there. We played 2 games yesterday, pretty close games. We lost, but the kids are really improving, and that's the main point. My son scored a goal. He was pretty happy. My daughter got hurt. She was pretty mad. Sports, that's what happens. You can't always win, but that's cool. We're playing against pretty strong teams as well, so it would be useful. Yes. Have a great night. Thanks for the chat. Great info as always. Thank you so much for being here. Glad you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Let's see if I can put some music on just before I go.
I'll need to access your Amazon Music data to you. Is that okay?
No.
I will not.
Thank you. Don't. I didn't ask you. Hell, Siri. All right, take care.